It'll be just as interesting, if not way more interesting, to see where Bryce Harper lands. Ken Rosenthal with some information on that. If you missed the first hour of the program, Kenny, let's reset the Harper market in light of the Dodgers reappearing on the radar late last night.
That's right, Matt. Jesse Sanchez of MLB.com reporting overnight that the Dodgers met with Harper in Las Vegas, which is his hometown. Dave Roberts, the manager, was part of the contingent from the Dodgers to meet with Harper. And really the question now is, what does this all mean? And my understanding, and I just reported this, is that the Dodgers' interest in Harper is short-term. They don't want to go long-term. Now, Harper obviously wants to top Machado at $300 million. Remember, he turned down the Nationals' $300 million at the start of the offseason before he was even a free agent. So it remains to be seen his level of interest in that kind of deal. And you might ask, well, what are the Dodgers thinking? Why would they be willing to do this when their biggest guarantee to an outside free agent under Andrew Friedman has been $55 million to A.J. Pollock? And the reason is they see an opening. They explore things. Much like most high-revenue teams, they're constantly circling back and checking in, and there might be an opportunity here. And that opportunity might exist if, and perhaps only if, the Phillies are not willing to go to $300 million for Harper. You remember what happened with Machado. The Phillies general manager Matt Klentak said, Machado with $300 million from the Padres, that exceeded our valuation. Those were his exact words. Exceeded our valuation.
To get hit, don't play.
Well, Harold actually has a point here, though he's talking about something else completely. The point is, if you're not willing to spend the money, don't play. And again, the Phillies are sitting there. They're the team with the stupid money. They are the team that evidently has believed that really they're the most serious by far on Harper. And that's why they've been willing to string this along and wait and try to get the best possible value. The danger in doing that, always in free agency, is that you might get blindsided. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. We don't know that that's going to happen. And again, Boris and Harper, their interest is going to be long-term. They don't necessarily want a short-term deal, but you can justify anything in this world. And if indeed, let's say for example, Matt, the Dodgers are willing to go to $40 million per year over 4 years, something along those lines, right? Okay, he wouldn't have the highest guarantee in history. He wouldn't have what the Nationals offered in terms of total dollars. He wouldn't have what Manny Machado got, but he'd have the highest AAV by a considerable amount, average annual value, average salary. And you could justify that and say, you know what? A couple more big years, go back in the market. I'm sure there would be opt-outs early on. It works for him. It works for the Dodgers, if indeed he is willing to do that. It remains to be seen, again, what each side is willing to do. And I'm talking about the Phillies and Harper. Are the Phillies willing to go above where they've been? And is Harper willing to take less than he is?
And Dave, what can you say about the rumors and the thoughts about perhaps Dodgers still being in on the mix with Bryce?
Well, I think there's something that we've always said is we're always trying to, make our team better potentially. So I think that you're always trying to improve in any way, whether it's off the field, on the field, and so that's sort of where we're at. But our focus is obviously on the players that we have here in camp. But we're always trying to get better.
Well, not realistically being able to perhaps offer him a long-term deal. Is it realistic that perhaps on a shorter-term deal with a decent AAV that you guys get him this spring?
I really can't speak to that right now. I personally have to just focus on the 61 guys that are here. So, as far as any other player, I think that's better. That's an Andrew question.
How did the meeting go?
It was good. It was good. Just kind of trying to, get to know each other. And I think in the spirit of us as the Dodgers, vetting a certain process makes sense. And for those guys to do their due diligence as well.
What kind of questions did he have?
I'm not going to get too far into all that, Pedro. There was a process that I think that all parties are going to take part in, and for me, that's about it. And now my focus has to be on the guys here.
Can you say what your impression of him was?
I do know Bryce. you know, spent some time with him, you know, last in the All-Star game, and so obviously, you know, heck of a player, really great family man, great guy.
There's plenty of money to go around in that Dodgers organization. You know, maybe he's getting there. They're seeing just how much they could go. Super high AAV, maybe less years. If you're Harper, do you consider that, and what number would it take for an AAV to consider something like that?
Oh, I don't know. I think that has to come from the player. I think, you know, as this process has gone on all winter, I'm sure his group, they're sitting down, they're going over all their options. And then now when a team now comes out again and says they're back in the mix, and I think they've been interested in him all year. It'll be interesting to see, does he want a short-term deal or does he want the long-term deal? And I think it comes down to his family, him and his wife and his mom and dad, and what he feels is best for his future. He's going to win at the end of the day no matter what happens. He's going to make a lot of money. You know, for me, I know an important thing with his style of play would be I would want to pick a ballpark that I could hit home runs in.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel he's a Hall of Fame player if he continues on this path.
Right.
And picking a ballpark that's hitter-friendly is a big thing as far as playing every day.
Interesting you say that, because since the Giants have been rumored to be in on the mix as well, we took a look at the spray chart. This is Bryce Harper's home runs hit over the last 3 seasons at Nationals Park, which was, of course, his home park. This is Oracle Park, where the San Francisco Giants play. Of the last 3 years, his home runs, only 1 would not have been a home run. This is according to StatCast, of course. And that 1 would have been hit to Triple's alley. And with Bryce Harper's speed, it could have been an inside the Parker, and that's an exciting way to get a home run.
Absolutely. It's, if you like inside the park home runs, great. But I think for him, he's going to hit home runs wherever he goes. The thing for me, though, in San Francisco is at night, the way the ball, you know, doesn't carry as well. But, you know, look, that's a decision he's got to make. It's a great city. It's been a great organization. And we talked about it. If you add him to this core group of guys,
exactly.
You know, that's something
Giants,
else to consider, yes.
That's their weakness, really, is power, is offense, and their outfield power in particular. They've got some young guys coming up. They're unproven. So if you add Bryce to that mix, that instantly makes the Giants a lot better in that division, a lot more of a contending team. He's
going to make a lot of people better, for sure. It's, you know, we're in spring training. The other factor here is, look, as a player, you want to get those reps. You want to start getting at bats. You want to start getting to know your teammates. You want your wife to be able to know where you're going to live during the season. As this process keeps going, you know, I mean, we're now getting into like what, 4 or 5 games of spring training games. So spring training, Heidi, does go very quick.
Clayton Kershaw. The ace played catch with Walker Buehler this morning, marking the first time that Kershaw has thrown since last Wednesday. He was shut down for a few days due to his shoulder not feeling right. Still no definitive timetable as to when Kershaw will return to the mound, but here's the skipper, Dave Roberts, giving us an update.
He didn't feel great, so where he's at right now, it might be another day or two till he picks it up again. So right now, I think it's safe to say he didn't feel great coming out of it. So where that, you know, has us right now, I really don't know. But I know we'll probably take a step back until he starts feeling better.
You want to send him for an MRI? I mean, follow up on this in some way?
I think the medical staff's got a handle on it, and I'll touch base with them this evening and figure out the course of action for Clayton. But right now, we don't have an MRI scheduled.
Concern level go up a little bit?
It's not ideal, and you know, you hope when he picks up the ball, there's you know, he comes out of it feeling better. So obviously it's not ideal, but you know, we'll deal with whatever comes our way.
Same like shoulder problem?
Dave Roberts saying, Ned, that it is not ideal. There has to be a lot of concern right now for the Dodgers. I'm sure they're couching some of that concern as far as Clayton Kershaw goes, because we saw him there. He wasn't exactly letting it go, and he was still feeling some discomfort in that shoulder.
You know, you still have a long time before spring training, but it has got to be concerning to everybody involved. You watch him throw, and it's not typical of him to be a little bit ginger out there and not really letting it go. And I don't know that he's going to feel better in a day or two unless he was starting to feel better at the end of his workout today. I think it is a concern. You still got a long way to go. But whenever you have the shoulder, it's a different situation than it is the elbow. And I do think that they're going to use everything that they can, patient-wise, medical-wise, treatment-wise, to get to the bottom of it and to make sure that he's going to be 100% by the time the season starts and whenever he's going to be ready to pitch.
Well, Dave Roberts said a few days ago when this first came out about him not feeling right, at least the shoulder not feeling right, Ned, that an MRI was not necessary. At what point do you think an MRI will be necessary for Clayton Kershaw?
Well, I think, you know, they know far more than I know. The medical people, they stay in touch every day. Every day when you start spring training, when you start the day, your medical people come in and address everybody that's got any type of issue going on. So that's still happening, and they're going through that, and I'm sure that Dr. Neil Elatrosh has been kept appraised of every situation, and they'll figure it out at some point in time. In the right time, they'll do everything in the right order and in the right timing. And you don't know really what it's like negotiations. Sometimes you don't know what is going on when people aren't around.
From the outside looking in, you make it seem like hitting is such an easy thing to do. We know that it isn't. What has worked well for you early this spring? Because it seems like you're connecting on everything.
Just trying to make sure your timing's good, and when timing's good, you give yourself a chance. Obviously, there's still a lot of stuff on the other side, working on, trying to get better at. But when you get in the game, it's about being on time and competing. And so far, it's gone pretty good.
What have you noticed from some of the younger kids that you've been playing with so far in these A games, the likes of the Matt Beatties of the world, DJ Peters, Gavin Lux, on and on and on?
And we got a lot of good ball players. These guys can really play the game. One of the good things about being a Dodger is, those guys all spent most of the offseason in LA working out with us. So we got to know them on a little better level. I think that helps them be a little bit more comfortable out here and go out and perform the way they can. And obviously they're coming out swinging.
How much stock do you put in, number one, how you feel in spring training, number two, the results that you're seeing?
I think it's more about feel than anything. Obviously, everyone wants to have good results and wants to feel good about themselves, but it's about coming out of games feeling good, knowing and identifying what you need to work on and what you need to get better at, and then showing up the next day and trying to address those issues.
For you, what is that? What do you want to work on?
Just some bat pass stuff, getting out in the cage early with our hitting guys, with Brownie and Rob and Bates, and just trying to make sure everything's exactly where it needs to be and roll into the season feeling healthy and feeling confident.
Yes, please stay healthy. Nice start. Thanks for your time as always.
Thank you.